welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Well, those of us who live outside the National Beltway probably don't really understand what goes on inside the Beltway. And is there an earthquake going on in there? Well, it's always good to check in with our buddy Jim Dornan's with us today. He's a Republican strategist. We've known Jim for years, and he's got his finger on the pulse there. He's in the middle of it, and I don't know if he's sleeping at night, but he's probably grinning a lot. Hello, Brother Jim. How you doing?
Hey, Perry, how are you? Great intro.
So, how do you describe the Epstein Gate, Russia Gate earthquake?
Chaos. God, I mean, to go through this and try to understand it, even for someone who's been around as long as I have, you just kind of shake your head and go, oh my goodness, what is happening? I think basically things have been completely misunderstood or miscalculated by both sides. Nobody quite understood that the Epstein issue, if you will, was a much bigger deal than anybody thought. Trump ran basically as an anti-establishment, anti-privileged candidate. And right now, he's not saying anything about Epstein after promising the entire campaign that he would. And nobody can quite figure out why. The Republicans are not speaking to one another about it. They're speaking at one another. And I think like I said, I think there's just a misunderstanding. The manosphere, if you will, which is 20-something guys who listen to Joe Rogan, are absolutely up in arms about this, as so are the MAGA faithful. And I think they need to get it off the front page before it gets even more out of hand.
Okay, so in the meantime, he's called for the exposure of the grand jury testimony to be released, but now it's hung up in Congress, and it might be hung up in the court. So is it off his desk?
No, because the Republicans in Congress are voting with the Democrats on exposing or transparency, if you will. But Johnson is scared to death this is going to have long-term effects on the midterm elections in November of 2026. So he shut down Congress for all practical purposes. They went on vacation 2 weeks early, and now nothing is going to happen in Congress until August. And I think they're hoping it'll go away, but I think it's going to pick up even worse than it is right now.
What role in this whole issue with the DOJ interviewing Maxwell? I mean, that could be an interim issue on this whole
Very
thing.
much so. Well, and again, that's kind of even confusing as well. I mean, you've got Speaker Johnson saying, can we trust her? And then if she comes out with something that helps the Republicans, the Democrats are going to go, well, can we trust her? So, I mean, she's in a position, if she has information to tell it. I understand she's trying to work a deal to get her jail sentence reduced. Right now it's at 20 years. So that's an interesting variable as well. And that's just it. There are all these variables around this whole issue.
Okay. What about Tulsi Gabbard's exposure of what happened with Russiagate and the whole Russia collusion? It's unwinding fast, and more stuff is coming out. What's the feel inside the Beltway on this one?
I think there's very much a wait and see right now, from what I can tell from both my Democratic and Republican contacts. But remember also, because of past actions by President Trump, President Obama can't be charged with anything. Just like, and that's basically Trump's precedent, if you will. And so, I guess if they can get some lower level folks like campaign staff and whatnot, it could be a huge problem, or it could fade if they can't get anything.
I guess my question on this, Jim, shouldn't we get to the bottom of this?
Yeah, if one candidate was trying to get another candidate out of the race because of lies, if you will, then you cannot let that go. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, has our partisanship gotten that insane?
Mm-hmm.
I just It can't sit in a democracy.
So I understand they probably won't get President Obama. I get that. The immunity thing is and privilege protection, all that. It's an interesting thing. Trump fought and got it, and now it probably will apply to President Obama. I understand that. But you kind of nullify his legacy, and you get some of the lower guys down there, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, some of these guys. I mean, that would be significant, don't you think?
No question. And that's why I think you do have to get to the bottom of it. If there's a there there,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oftentimes, and we've seen this almost since the beginning of the Trump presidency, these things come and they're on the front page of the paper, and then, they disappear and we don't hear from them again. So the short answer is yes. If there's a there, we need to get to the bottom of it and not allow this to happen again.
Okay, yesterday was really an interesting thing when you had President Trump put on his hard hat and go over to the Fed building. He's walking around doing the Trump, let's say, construction thing. It really is quite amusing to watch these two guys walk through there. You do have a building that went from $2.7 billion to $3.1 billion overruns, which is an increase of almost $500 million. And two guys that can't stand each other walking through this thing. I mean, it was really, it's kind of like, as I said earlier on the day, have you ever brushed your dog and the dog always leans into it? I've never seen Trump just lean into trouble, and he did, and he went there and he walked around, and he put a hard hat on. But at the end of the day, the killer was, he reaches in his pocket and hands him the invoice for $3.1 trillion. And Powell says, I didn't know that.
Or he also said, and this is the one thing that really got me, he said, that's not this building. It's another building next door to it that they're rehabbing as well. And so, and you have him shaking his head while Trump is talking. I found that very amusing on both ends. I guess the question, I understand what Trump is doing. I mean, he's very smart. He's a very smart guy. So, I mean, he wants rid of Powell very badly, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're doing work on the on Jamie Dimon's organization up in New York, his building. Is Jamie Dimon out there supervising it? No, he's not. He's got lower level guys doing that. Now, I'm not surpassing or going past the overruns, because that's anything the government funds, it has overruns because people know they can get away with it. But there's got to be a better issue he can pick on Powell about to get rid of him.
Well, yeah. The other thing he said, well, it looks like he will lower rates, but it'll be too late. I mean, he's putting a lot of pressure on the guy and giving him a headache, but he can't fire him for his position. Correct.
And if you look at the history of presidents shoving Fed chairs out the door, it's not good for the economy. So, and I think even Trump's advisors are telling him that. At least that's what I'm hearing here in D.C. So I think he's just got to grin and bear it. He appointed the guy. He's got to take what he has.
Okay. In the meantime, the president sued CBS, won, got north of $30 million. He got Columbia University to pay $220 million. $21 million of that went to the Jewish organization on campus. Now he's going after the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. And the Wall Street journalist couldn't get on Air Force One and fly with him to Scotland today. I know you know enough that you go home and you got to just be laughing at some of this stuff, but what's your take on that?
The Wall Street Journal is one of the few press outlets, besides you, of course, that I trust. And I think Trump probably felt that way until that article hit this week as well. My guess is they've been smart enough to be able to back it up. And they came out with another article yesterday that ticked Trump's people off. So I think, he may try to sue them. He may win. I mean, hell, he got rid of Colbert, right? So we can't underestimate him ever.
Oh, gosh, it's just amazing. Okay, so what are we not hearing inside the Beltway?
So right now, poll numbers are showing Trump is losing support with, like I said, the manosphere and with some hardcore MAGA folks. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene on the floor screaming at him over this Epstein stuff as well. I think he needs to sit back, do some thinking during the month of August. There's no pressure here whatsoever. In fact, it's dead in this town during August. And I think he needs to rethink his strategy on that and then go forward. They're looking at other bills, they're looking at another tax cut, and they're looking for probably some more clawbacks on spending, which is very in his wheelhouse and very popular among not only his base, I think, among independents as well. But he needs to be worried a little bit about the midterm elections. And so everything he does should be shooting for November of 2026. And so he'll have 2 years to cement his legacy. He can do it. He's got the right policies and mostly support. But he's got to be smart about it, and he's got to do it in a way that people understand and don't look like he's dodging anything. What
percent of the far-right mega bunch is against him, do you know?
It's probably a handful, but because it's a handful inside the Republican percentage as well, any little bit hurts right now. So I think it's probably maybe 10 to 12%, but they also make a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I think that's getting to them a little bit. And it's definitely encouraging the Democrats. I mean, they're in these committees offering amendments to every single bill there is, something to do with Epstein transparency.
Okay. James Carville says that the DNC or the Democrats in general just totally have lost it. You almost want to keep James Carville in the news every day.
Well, both him and Rahm Emanuel, kind of the godfathers of Democrat philosophy right now, are seeing the middle of the road, middle class taxpayer be tossed aside for these incredibly far left, ridiculous positions on things like transgender. The majority of Americans do not support that agenda, and it killed Kamala, and it's going to kill the Democrats if they continue to go down that road.
I know that you drill down all the way into various congressional seats. It's a little early yet, but do you see any vulnerability out there for the Republicans going into the midterm?
I think it's going to be a case by case, literally a case by case or a member by member election, if you will. I think that the Medicaid cuts, if they hit around election time, it's going to be painful. As I said, I think previously, a lot of those folks are MAGA folks that are going to have their health care cut off, and I think they're going to be upset about it. But again, if Trump, he's a smart guy, and he's recovered, obviously, in the past. I think he can try to hold it. The Senate, I think, Republicans hold. House, a little bit less so. It's a little bit more difficult because they're.
Do you see the president literally campaigning midterm for House seats?
No, I don't. I just don't think that's in his wheelhouse. I don't think he likes to. I think if there are House candidates in an area that he wants to do a rally, absolutely. And he probably will do rallies for some of the Senate guys who are in trouble. And we've got some guys in trouble. That North Carolina seat, now that it's open, is going to be a problem. It's a very purple state. And there's some other, Joni Ernst out in Iowa has got a little bit of a problem, I understand, as well. And it's going to be tight. It's going to be very, very tight. And we're due for more partisanship for the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Just one other question as we head down the road here. It appears that the Democrats can't find a leader to rally behind. There's a lot of names out there, but nobody that seems to really ring the bell. How significant is that?
It's very significant. I've been saying now for the last few months that I believe that change and affordability are going to be the two big issues in 2028. And there's not really any Democrats who are addressing that and who have the personality that Trump has. I mean, nobody in politics right now has the personality that Trump does. So they've got to figure this out, or they're going to be in the minority for a long, long time. They've got a great bench. They've got some good governors out there who do very well in blue states and who speak the language of the middle class. But if they're forced into this box where they have to take these far left positions, it's not going to fly.
Okay, one last question. I'll let you go. Will we see the Redskins?
That is a great question. I love sports, as you well know, Perry.
Yeah.
It, I do not want the president of the United States involved with the NFL. I don't care what party he is. I don't want him involved.
Yeah.
And so I don't think, I think, unfortunately, I think that was a bad decision made by the Redskins. But it's been made, and I don't think they're going to go back on it. It's a brand new owner. I don't think he's going to do anything to tick off Roger Goodell and the other folks in the hierarchy of the NFL.
Okay, so he poked his nose into the stadium building.
Right, which passed yesterday by the city council here in D.C. So
I don't know. Just quickly, doesn't most people want the title Redskins back?
They do, but I just don't think. I think the political ramifications. They are overthinking it. I think the Redskin season ticket holders would be more than happy to have the Redskins name back.
Okay.
I just don't think it's.
I'm going to float the name of the Dornans.
I'd help us.
Good to see you, brother. Take care.
You too, Perry. Good talking with you.